This morning we're going to do something just a little bit different. Normally at this point we would do a sermonette. At least that's what we call it on our website, because that attracts more people than if we called it the children's sermon. But in any event, the sermonette this morning is actually the first part of the sermon. We're going to deliver that, focus on it for a few minutes, sing a hymn, and then we'll move into the second part of the sermon, the message for the big children. How many people like mysteries? Anybody? Anybody? Bueller? I do. Madeline and I oftentimes will sit down and we'll watch Elementary, or we'll go to HBO and we'll watch the Sherlock Holmes story there, because I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan. I love trying to figure out who done it. Maybe you're an Agatha Christie fan. Or maybe you grew up on Nancy Drew or the Hardy Boys. I frequently envisioned myself as Joe Hardy, the elder brother. Or was that Frank? It was one of the two. In any event, they were really cool guys. Teenagers with race cars and motorcycles and speedboats, and they solved all kinds of crime for their father, the detective Fenton Hardy. This morning, we have a mystery to solve. It's called The Case of the Empty Tomb. The story begins the morning on the first day of the week, Sunday. And some women who had been followers of Jesus went to his tomb. Now on Friday afternoon when Jesus died, because it was almost sundown and because the Jewish people have very strict regulations about dead bodies on the Sabbath day, Jesus was hastily buried in a tomb with just the minimal preparation. So the ladies were bringing spices and ointments that they wanted to apply to Jesus' body. If you think of the Christmas story, one of the gifts from the wise men was such an ointment, frankincense. They're concerned, however, because there was a large stone in front of the tomb. Furthermore, on Saturday morning, the priests had gone to Pilate and said, "This man said that after being put to death, he would come back to life 3 days later." We're afraid that his disciples are going to sneak over there, steal the body, and then tell everybody that Jesus has been raised from the dead. And that lie would be worse than the first one, that he was the Son of God. So please, put a guard over the tomb. Pilate did. Several Roman soldiers were posted, and a seal was placed on the stone that said, "This stone is in place by order of the emperor. If you move it, you do so at your own risk." But yet when the ladies get there, the stone has been rolled away, and the soldiers are gone. Mystified, they go into the tomb and find Jesus gone. He's not there. Instead, there's a man dressed in a white robe. I think it's pretty safe to conclude it was an angel. Probably the same one that rolled away the stone. And he tells them, "Why are you looking here in a cemetery for Jesus? He's not dead. He has risen, just as he said he would. Go look for him in Galilee, because that's where he said you were going to find him." And that's where the story stops. We notice Mark tells us that the women said nothing to anyone because they were afraid. Probably because they were women. Okay? In the Jewish system, only men could serve on a jury. Only men could give testimony in court. So you and I, we're good to go. The rest of you ladies, you are of no value whatsoever. Thankfully, we've come a long way since then, especially since we're outnumbered. But here's where the story stops. We'll pick it up again in a few minutes. Let's join in singing hymn number 352. We're going to sing 5 verses. The first 4, and then the last verse, number 8.